If there's one constant in the universe, is that Dragon Ball fans will always want a Vegeta story, but always end up playing second fiddle to Goku. But back in 1991, the anime staff actually gave Vegeta his own story, one that takes place as he dies on Namek, a story where he looks back on his entire life, trapped in darkness, refusing to let his pride disappear. It was written by Takao Koyama, the guy behind the original Dragon Ball Z movies, including Broly, and drawn by Minoru Maeda, the series' legendary character designer at the time. This is the Vegeta story you've never read. High Pride, Saiyan Prince, Vegeta. We open with narration as we set the stage. Vegeta has just died on Namek at the hands of Frieza, but even in death, his will and pride did not yield, as he vowed to return to life. His soul made it through the gates of Otherworld, but as if he was stuck in his own mind, he was completely surrounded by darkness, replaying the moment of his death over and over again. He asked himself,
"Aren't I supposed to be dead? When you die, doesn't everything become nothing and you lose consciousness?"
He was just the soul floating, and couldn't tell if he even had a body, as he waited for his return. In his mind, Vegeta relived his lifetime of endless battles, destruction, and slaughter. This is a pretty cool way to frame this story. Rather than actually starting at the beginning, it takes place during those few hours, where Vegeta was dead. And so he thinks back to planet Vegeta, the world the Saiyan warrior race called their home, and he was their prince. Even as a kid, Vegeta had an incredible power level, to the point where there were rumors from other Saiyans that the prince was definitely the legendary Super Saiyan. As he grew up, Vegeta became more prideful and sure of his abilities, until the day his father brought him to meet Frieza. The Emperor said to him,
So you are Vegeta. Even for a boy, you have a good look to you. Please, do come work for me.
Instantly, Vegeta learned to hate Frieza, his polite manner of speaking, his tender demeanor, and above all, the way his father bowed before him. It was upon that fateful meeting that Vegeta promised himself to one day kill Frieza, but for now he had no choice but to fake obedience. He served Frieza for many years, polishing his abilities and power level. One day, he was called out to take down a distant planet, and as he sat by the fire, surrounded by the bodies of the locals he'd exterminated, he received a call from Nappa. His underling explained that they received a transmission from Frieza, explaining that planet Vegeta was destroyed. But the prince simply said,
"Oh,"
reacting coldly with no emotions. Apparently, a meteor had collided with their home planet, wiping out nearly all the Saiyans. Very few remained in the universe, and Vegeta realized that this meant his father was dead too. Allowing a smirk to escape, the prince declared,
"I won't let myself be used and disposed of like the king. One day, I will defeat Frieza, no matter what it takes."
And so, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz continued to follow Frieza's orders, though Vegeta always dreamed of the day he'd finally take down the Emperor. The Saiyans attacked many planets, fought many warriors, and overcame many challenges that would have otherwise killed them if it wasn't for the Saiyans' ability to get stronger when coming back from the brink of death. Vegeta grew stronger and stronger, to the point where neither Nappa, Raditz, nor the alien underlings of Frieza could stand up to him. Then Vegeta remembers my favorite anecdote from his memories. As Frieza invited him into his throne room, he praised Vegeta for his abilities, openly giving him his flowers. But Frieza's most trusted warriors, Zarbon, Dodoria, and even the Ginyu Force, continued to toy with Vegeta and treating him as a child. Dodoria mockingly said to him,
"Good work for a brat."
A Queer Race underling, who was in the room with them, nodded in approval at Dodoria's backhanded compliment. And in the blink of an eye, Vegeta fired an energy bullet at him and killed him before he could even scream. As the bodies smoked on the floor, Dodoria called Vegeta a bastard, while the other soldiers froze, pale-faced. Dodoria braced himself for a fight, but Vegeta spoke up.
"I won't forgive anyone who insults the pride of the Saiyan race, even if they are Frieza's underlings."
You could cut the tension with a knife, but Frieza smiled, easily pulling them apart by saying,
"Ha ha ha! Dodoria, Vegeta, that's enough hot-headedness, isn't it?"
Vegeta simply balled up his fist in frustration and animosity towards Frieza, but his heart burned with hatred towards him. Vegeta had the determination to defeat Frieza, but there was far too much difference in their power, and this was never more apparent than the day Vegeta watched as a whole planet full of warriors who challenged Frieza was destroyed by the Emperor with a single finger and a giant energy sphere. Vegeta felt true fear from the bottom of his heart, realizing that Frieza was a true monster. Frustrated, Vegeta acknowledged that he could do nothing more than wait. That wait became years, as Vegeta grew into a young man, still serving under Frieza. He worked as a space land shark alongside Nappa, but his destiny would forever change the day he got a certain scouter transmission, all in exchange for Raditz's miserable life.
So, they're called the Dragonballs or something. It seems they can grant any wish. Alright, Nappa, let's go.
Nappa assumed that they would return Raditz back to life, but Vegeta laughed. No, instead, they'll obtain eternal life and enjoy eternal battles. And so the two Saiyans made their way to Earth. What Vegeta didn't know was that this would lead to the fateful meeting with son Goku, Kakarot. He was supposed to be nothing more than a low-class Saiyan, and Vegeta made sure Kakarot knew this, insulting him every chance he got. But the Saiyan raised on Earth had trained in other worlds under King Kai, and he had changed completely from when him and Raditz died. Nappa didn't stand a chance, and with little pity, Vegeta killed his subordinate. As Vegeta puts it, weak Saiyans have no right to live. This battle against Kakarot was the first time Vegeta had what could truly be considered a death match.
Impossible. He surpassed my power level. I am a super elite. There's no way I can be beaten by this low-level warrior. I am the strongest in the universe.
Prince Vegeta was in shock upon seeing his loyal blood spilled. Vegeta had no choice but to create an artificial moon and transform into an Ozaru, mocking Kakarot for losing his tail. But thanks to the assistance of Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe, Vegeta was taken down by Earth's mightiest heroes. Still, he managed to escape, traveling for 18 days to Frieza Planet 79, while plugged into his life support system. He hated Kakarot for taking pity on him and humiliating him, swearing to surpass him. As he traveled, Vegeta lost consciousness, but his mind stirred with the image of Goku. He swore revenge against his newfound rival, but the rematch wouldn't come along for a long time. Instead, the battleground was moved to planet Namek, the home world of Piccolo and Kami, and where another set of Dragon Balls was sure to exist. There, Vegeta finally made his move against Frieza and his men to try and gain eternal life, and finally defeat Frieza. But in a twisted turn of events, the prince faced off against Ginyu and had to team up with the Earthling fighters, Krillin and Gohan, the son of Kakarot. It's during these confrontations that Vegeta declared himself as a future Super Saiyan who would take down Frieza and the Earthlings. Still, the Ginyu Force were too much for them until Kakarot arrived to help, with Captain Ginyu ending up as a frog. Vegeta realized that he had no choice but to team up with Kakarot in order to exploit the one thing he feared outside of Super Saiyan, Saiyans conspiring together. During the battles, Vegeta realized that Goku's way of fighting and power was unimaginable, questioning if Kakarot was really a Super Saiyan. But he shook it off. No, Kakarot was too soft to become a Super Saiyan. If anyone was to achieve that legend, then it would be the prince himself. And so, with everything on the line, Vegeta challenged Frieza, but he was no match to the Cold's many transformations. By the time he reached his final form, it was clear that Vegeta had lost. Caught by Frieza's tail, Vegeta was tortured. He had underestimated his opponent. The prince could no longer fight, and he stopped struggling. He'd rather die like this than expect any mercy from Frieza. His pride in his warrior race, and above that, his pride as a prince, had been destroyed. In the brink of death, Vegeta shed tears for the first time. Tears of regret.
If Frieza hadn't transformed 3 times, then I would have definitely won.
Vegeta's heart was filled with nothing but regret and hatred towards Frieza, and even in death, having passed on to Otherworld, those same feelings remained.
I'm different from my father.
His soul thought to itself.
No matter how strong of a person comes along, I won't meekly obey them. Even if it's just obedience, I'd rather choose death.
Darkness consumed him as tears ran down his cheek. He saw the light, promising himself that he would return to life and defeat Frieza. But while his soul floated in darkness, Vegeta's consciousness was wrapped by a dazzling rainbow light, and the next thing he knew, he could feel again. he'd woken back up on Namek. He had no idea why or how, but he was alive. That rainbow light continued to envelop his mind, a lingering reaction to having been returned to life. And with that, Vegeta made a pledge. With this second chance, not only would he defeat Frieza, but also surpass Kakarot and become the strongest warrior in the universe.
My name is Vegeta. I am the Prince of the Saiyans.
And that was Vegeta's lost story we never got over here. In the moment where all hope was gone, Vegeta found a reason to keep living. Pure burning pride. This forgotten story doesn't change Dragon Ball history, but it shows how close Vegeta once was to breaking, and how even death couldn't stop the Prince of all Saiyans. It's an interesting piece of Dragon Ball history to look back on now. I can even see how this mindset he has here evolves further down the line, especially the part about choosing death than obeying someone, which is basically what happens with Majin Vegeta. Sadly, we've seen a surprisingly little amount of Vegeta's backstory through Dragon Ball, but I have a feeling that someday they'll finally give us a Vegeta movie or story. Anyways, don't forget to dirty fireworks that subscribe button, and if you want to learn more about official obscure Dragon Ball stories, check out my video going over the forgotten Future Trunks illustrated story.